This is question number 4 for us. And it says, what are diminishing returns to an input, and what are some real world examples of it? Law of diminishing returns, this is our tutor's answer. The law of diminishing returns state that when more and more units of a variable factor are employed with a fixed factor, then the marginal product of the variable must fall. It means that the marginal return diminishes when the proportion between variable and fixed factors increases beyond a point. This law is also known as the law of diminishing marginal product. And our tutor gave an example with a table over here, and tells you labor, when labor is 1, the total product is 12. Labor is 2, total product is 22. Labor is 3, total product is 30. 4, 36, 5, 40. And the marginal product is basically just the incremental change of an additional unit of labor. So from here we see it's 12 at when there's 1 unit of labor, 10 when there's 2, 8 when there's 3, 6 when there's 4, and 4 when there's 5. The above table clearly depicts that marginal product fall is more and more units of a variable factor and employed with the fixed factor. The fixed factor here is land. And the example we're given is, suppose a farmer has 1 acre of land, which is the fixed factor, on which he wants to increase the production of wheat with the help of labor, which is the variable factor. It's a variable factor because it's always changing. When he employed more and more units of labor, initially output increased at an increasing rate, and then at a decreasing rate, and finally a negative rate. So reasons for diminishing returns of an input. Number 1 is optimum combination of factors. In production, there is always a combination of fixed and variable factors at which the total product is maximum, after which the optimum use of the fixed factor. After making the optimum use of the fixed factor, the marginal returns of the variable factor begin to diminish. For example, if machinery, a fixed factor, is at its optimum use when 4 units of labor are employed, then additional labor will increase total product. Then additional labor will increase the total product by less amount, and the marginal product will start to diminish. So in this example over here, looks like it started to diminish after they kept on adding another factor of labor, at the second factor of labor. And if we continued this, it would have eventually total product of units would have eventually started to decrease. So here it's increasing by 10, 8, 6, and 4. If you keep on going and keep on adding more factors of labor, then you will eventually see this decreasing and the marginal product will become negative. Second reason is imperfect substitutes. Another reason for diminishing returns is that the fixed factor and variable factors are imperfect substitutes for one another. There's a limit to the extent to which one factor of production can be replaced with another. For example, labor can be substituted in place of capital, and capital can be substituted in place of labor until a particular point. But beyond the optimum limit, they become imperfect substitutes for one another, which leads to diminishing returns. So all in all, this is a great explanation. If we just let's bring this graph over here. this a little smaller. We'll call this so fixed factor is variable factor. This is the total units, and this is the marginal product. And fixed factor is never going to change, it's always 1. Variable here goes from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5. And I'm just going to tweak the marginal product units here. So the total unit starts at 12. I'm going to say this is 27. I'm going to say this is 50. We're going to call this 62. And we're going to call this 70. So here the marginal product for the first one is just 12 because it was 0 before. The difference here is 15. Here it would be 23. Here it would be 12. And here it would be 8. So from our definition, it says here it means that marginal return diminishes when the proportion between variable and fixed factors increases beyond a point, and that point is the maximum marginal product, which is in this case 23, and this is at 3 units of labor, so we'll call this labor. After 3 units of labor, you start to see that it diminishes. So it doesn't increase from 23, but it decreases to 12, decreases to 8. Eventually it becomes negative. So say it's correct.